The child screams, not in pain, but in pure, unadulterated joy. They spin in circles until they fall dizzy into the grass. They ask why 40 times in an hour. They wear their heart on the outside of their chest, exposed and pulsing and utterly unafraid. They don't check the corners of the room for approval. They don't wonder if their laugh is too loud. They just are. But then watch closely. Watch the moment the light flickers. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow erosion. A sudden hush at the dinner table. A teacher's sharp glance. A parent's exhausted sigh. Slowly, the child who once ran barefoot into the storm begins to walk on tiptoes. They learn that being too much gets you punished, but being invisible gets you safety. This isn't a story about personality types. This is the autopsy of a silence that was never a choice. It was a survival strategy. And if you are listening to this, chances are you are still wearing the armor you forged when you were 5 years old. They call it growing up. They call it learning manners. But for you, it felt like surgery without anesthesia. You remember the specific moments, don't you? The times when your excitement was met with a cold stare. The times your tears were labeled as drama. The times your curiosity was dismissed as annoying. A child doesn't understand societal norms, but they are geniuses at understanding pain. You learned very quickly that your authentic self was a liability. When you were loud, you were shamed. When you were emotional, you were mocked. When you were open, you were hurt. So you did the only logical thing a smart child could do. You began to edit yourself. You started swallowing your words before they could leave your throat. You started analyzing the room before you entered it. You became a master of the scan, reading the energy of your parents, your teachers, your friends, just to see if it was safe to exist that day. And slowly, the you that was loud and free retreated into a fortress deep inside your mind. People started complimenting you on how mature you were. "She's such a good listener," they'd say. "He's so well behaved." They didn't see the discipline it took to hold your breath for that long. They didn't see that your silence wasn't peace. It was a dam holding back a flood. You weren't calm, you were petrified. And this is where the label introvert gets complicated. Because yes, maybe you naturally enjoy solitude, but there is a distinct difference between preferring a quiet room and being afraid to speak in a loud one. True introversion is a preference. What you experienced was a conditioning. You learned that invisibility was a superpower. If no one notices you, no one can criticize you. If you don't offer an opinion, you can't be wrong. If you don't show you care, you can't be heartbroken. So you build a glass wall between you and the world. On the outside, you are the observer, calm, reliable, perhaps a little distant, but behind the glass, it is a deafening storm. You have entire conversations in your head that you never speak out loud. You write scripts for arguments that happened 3 years ago. You feel things so deeply it physically hurts. The beauty of a song, the tragedy of a stranger's face. You are not numb. You are feeling everything all the time, but you have lost the clearance code to let it out. And the tragedy is, the world thinks you have nothing to say. They think you are empty because you are quiet. They don't know that you have built an entire library of unspoken thoughts, a museum of feelings that were too big for the small spaces you were allowed to occupy. You watch people who speak freely, those who laugh without covering their mouths, who interrupt, who take up space, and you feel a strange mix of annoyance and envy. The answer is simple. They were never taught that their voice was dangerous. You were. But here is the truth that usually takes a lifetime to uncover. That loud child didn't die. They are just waiting. They are sitting in the basement of your psyche, waiting for the signal that the war is over, waiting for you to realize that you are an adult now, and the people who shamed you into silence can no longer hurt you. Breaking this silence is not about suddenly becoming the loudest person in the room. It's not about performing extroversion. It is about safety. It is about convincing your nervous system that it is okay to drop the shield, just an inch. It starts in the small moments. It starts with saying no when you want to say no. It starts with sharing a thought that isn't fully polished. It starts with letting a tear fall in front of someone else without apologizing for it. You might feel a rush of panic when you do this. Your heart might hammer against your ribs. That is just the old alarm system going off. It's the ghost of the child you were whispering, "Hide, it's not safe." You have to gently tell that child, "I've got this. We're safe now." Because the world is missing out on you. That's the reality. Your silence has deprived the world of your unique perspective, your deep empathy, your rich inner life. You have been hoarding your gold because you were terrified of being robbed, but it is time to spend it. You don't have to break the glass wall with a hammer. You just have to open a window. You have to find the people who earn your voice. Not everyone deserves to hear it. You have been right to be protective. Your trust is expensive because it was broken. But there are people out there, friends, partners, communities, who are starving for the depth you carry. So, to the child who stopped dancing, you can move now. To the teenager who stopped speaking, we are listening. To the adult who feels invisible, we see you. You are not just quiet. You are a survivor of a world that didn't know what to do with your fire. But the fire is still there. It didn't go out, it just went inward. And now, if you are willing, you can let it warm you. You can let it light the way back to yourself. You don't have to shout to be heard, you just have to speak, one word at a time, one truth at a time. The silence kept you safe for a long time. It did its job. It protected you when you were too small to fight back. Thank it for its service, and then gently let it go.